Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I've always had a soft spot for the forgotten. Not the grand, historical forgotten, but the dusty, quiet kind old bookshops tucked away, overgrown paths, the skeletal remains of forgotten factories. My name, Ashton, and exploring these places is my escape from the mundane. That's how I stumbled upon the Chronos Compendium. It was a nondescript storefront, tucked between a laundromat and a vape shop, its windows so grimy I almost missed the faded, hand-painted sign. But something about the dim light spilling from within, the promise of unknown histories, pulled me in. The air inside was thick with the scent of aged paper, dust, and something else, something metallic, like old pennies or dried blood. Shelves crammed with arcane volumes, forgotten curios, and unsettling taxidermy lined the walls, creating a labyrinth of shadows. Behind a towering stack of maps, a woman emerged. Her name, I learned, was Meredith Iliev. She was slender, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of quiet observation. She moved with an eerie grace, always seeming to know exactly where I was in her cluttered domain, even when I thought I was out of sight. I spent an hour just wandering, touching the spines of books that felt older than time. Then, nestled amongst a collection of faded nautical charts, I found it. A journal, roughly 6 by 9 inches, bound in dark, smooth leather that felt strangely alive in my hands. It had no title, no markings beyond an almost imperceptible carving of a single, looping infinity symbol on the front. I opened it, and the first few pages were blank. Then, written in elegant, cursive script, were entries detailing my past week. Not just events, but my internal thoughts, my passing observations. Ashton felt a flicker of annoyance at the coffee shop barista's overly cheerful demeanor. One read, describing a moment I'd forgotten until I saw it there. I bought it, along with a few other innocuous paperbacks, feeling a strange mix of fascination and unease. The journal became my secret obsession. I'd read it, comparing its entries to my memories, each perfect match sending a shiver down my spine. It was unsettling, yes, but also captivating. Like I had a secret chronicler, an unseen shadow recording my every step. Then came the first entry that broke the mold. It described an event that hadn't happened yet. Ashton, distracted by a text message, would miss their bus and be forced to walk the entire distance to work, arriving late and disheveled. I scoffed. I was meticulous about my bus schedule. But the next morning, as I walked to the stop, a notification popped up, a long, rambling message from my cousin, Zinnia. I glanced down just for a second, and when I looked up, the bus was pulling away, leaving me standing in the exhaust fumes. My heart hammered. Coincidence? I tried to rationalize it, but the unease festered. The entries grew bolder. Ashton, seeking solace, would confide in Greg about a growing sense of dread. I hadn't even considered telling my friend Greg about the journal. But that night, after another unsettling prediction came true, a spill of coffee on my new shirt, just as the journal foretold, I called him, desperately needing to talk. He listened patiently, humoring my increasingly frantic theories. The worst part? When I recounted an event the journal predicted, Greg would sometimes finish my sentences or add details I'd forgotten, as if his memory was already aligned with the journal's narrative. It was like I was living out a script, and he was just another character responding to his cues. I had to go back to the Chronos Compendium. I had to understand. This time, Meredith Iliev was not at the counter. The shop felt colder, more ominous. I found her in a back room I hadn't noticed before, tucked behind a revolving bookshelf. The room was not cluttered like the main shop. Instead, it was meticulously organized. Floor-to-ceiling shelves held hundreds of journals, identical in size and binding to mine, but each with a single, elegant name etched on its spine. Simon Vance. Frida Ritter. Taryn Jeffers. My breath caught in my throat. These weren't just old books, they were lives. Meredith sat at a large, ornate desk, her back to me, meticulously inscribing something into a journal that lay open before her. The scraping of her pen was the only sound. She didn't turn around, but her voice, soft and calm, filled the room. "You've finished your current chapter, Ashton. I expected you sooner." I felt a cold, dread clamp around my lungs. What is this place? What are these journals? She finally turned, her eyes piercing. There was no malice, only a detached, almost maternal satisfaction. This, Ashton, is my collection, my life's work. I curate destinies. Each journal is a life, meticulously observed, carefully guided, and ultimately preserved. She gestured around the room. Think of me as a librarian of fate. I don't just record what happens, I write what happens. And you, my dear, are a fascinating new entry. My blood ran cold. You mean you've been writing my life? Indeed, she smiled, a thin, unsettling curve of her lips. Your Seeker's Chronicle is quite a delightful read. All that curiosity, that penchant for the forgotten, it made you perfect for the narrative I had in mind. She picked up a pristine, blank journal from her desk. On its spine, in silver script, was already etched. Ashton Valdez. Your story is reaching its climax, you see. Your curiosity has led you right where you were meant to be. The final act requires a certain commitment. I looked at the blank pages, then at the hundreds of others. Simon Vance, Frida Ritter, Taryn Jeffers. What were their final acts? Where were they now? Fear, raw and primal, surged through me. My life, my choices, my very self. It was all just ink on paper to her. I wasn't just being watched, I was being puppeted. No, I whispered, then louder. No, I won't let you. I grabbed my own journal from my bag, the leather now feeling like a serpent's skin. I looked at the blank Ashton Valdez journal on her desk, ready for its final inscription. A wild, desperate instinct took over. I lunged not at her, but at the towering shelves. With a violent shove, I sent a cascade of ancient, heavy tomes crashing down, sending dust and debris exploding into the air. Meredith cried out, a rare flicker of emotion in her composed face, as she instinctively moved to protect her precious archives. I scrambled over the fallen books, my own journal clutched tight. The shop seemed to shift around me, the aisles twisting, the shadows deepening, as if the very architecture was resisting my escape. I could hear Meredith's voice, sharp and commanding now, echoing behind me. Don't stray from the narrative, Ashton. The ending has already been written. I burst out of the heavy front door, gasping into the cool night air. The neon glow of the vape shop sign felt garish, sickeningly bright. I didn't look back. I just ran, my legs burning until I reached my car. I fumbled with the keys, my hands shaking so violently I nearly dropped them. The engine roared to life, a comforting sound of raw power, and I sped away, leaving the sinister glow of the Chronos Compendium behind. I've been driving for hours, stopping only for gas. Every time I glance in the rearview mirror, I half expect to see Meredith Iliev, calmly observing me, her pen poised. The world outside feels thinner now, less real. Did I truly escape, or is this just another chapter in my Seeker's Chronicle, a temporary reprieve before the inevitable conclusion? I still have the journal. It's in the passenger seat beside me, a silent, menacing presence. I haven't dared open it. I don't know if I can ever look at it again, or if I even should. Because what if this desperate flight, this very act of telling my story, is precisely what she intended all along? What if my escape is just the next scene in the story she's writing for me? And if so, what comes after that? I'm in a motel now, windows taped over, doors barricaded. But I don't know if it makes a difference. I don't know how to rewrite my own ending, or if I even can.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.